I discovered something in my melody writing masterclass earlier this week. Adam was in there, and I thought I would share some of it with the group here because it fit in with what we're talking about tonight. Brad C., glad to see you here, man. Michael Gibson, Sharon Arthur, MTP Studios, Warren Bull, Mike Franks, Brian Smythe. Man, we got the whole Jim, good seeing you on here. Got the whole crew coming in tonight. Just give everybody a second to get here and we'll get started. What I want to accomplish tonight, I want to be able to show you some of my thought process for how, when I sit down to write, how I borrow from music that has influenced me without crossing that line too far so that you're actually stealing something or just kind of going too far with it. Because even if you don't steal something, if you sound too much like what you're borrowing from, then people go, oh, you're trying to sound like, well, we just heard Steely Dan. They'll go, you're trying to sound like Steely Dan. And that's not optimum. We had a meeting with some SongTown members for our Diamond Club, and somebody played me a demo, and it sounded a lot like Big and Rich, a song of theirs they had out years back called Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. And he wanted to know, well, how can I fix it so it doesn't sound so much like that other song? And that's what we want to avoid. We want to make sure that, we don't come too close to what we're being influenced by. And I've got some cool ways of doing that. Hey, can you guys hear me all right? I probably should ask you that because otherwise you'll just see me waving my arms and nothing will be happening. Adam, can you hear me? Type it. Adam, can you hear me? You guys hear me all right? Yes. All right. Awesome. So that's the first thing we want to do. We want to learn how to be inspired, but keep our own unique voice. And I think that as we move forward in songwriting, your voice and developing your own style and your own voice has always been important. And by voice, I don't mean your singing voice. That can be part of it. But what I mean is your writing voice. So hopefully when I write a song, people will know that's a style of music that I do. That's a style of writing that I do. And that's what I want for you guys is to develop your own style. And I think a big part of that, it's going to be extremely important moving forward because as more and more people start relying on AI tools to do part of their writing, what they're going to find is they're going to lose their voice because they're asking an external thing to write something for them. So I think the more you can develop your voice, your style, I think the more valuable you will become as a writer. And that's what we want to do. We want the world to hear our thoughts. We want to put our thoughts into music and our feelings and put our heart into music. And having your own voice is going to help you get that across. As we're going tonight, I love if you guys ask me questions. I know how I approach music, but we all approach it differently. So if you have any questions, you want me to explain something further, I'm happy to do that. And I just love interacting with you guys. So why was I playing the song Peg? The beginning of the year, I always liked that song growing up. I was like, I would, and I was never really a piano player. And I go, I want to learn to play that song on keyboard. I want to learn to play Peg on keyboard. And for me, it was a challenge because I've spent my whole life playing guitar. So to grab these big chords and be able to play that, it was going to be challenging for me to do that. But this brings me to my second point tonight. Never waste anything you learn. So as I'm learning this song, let's see here. I I've got your picture, name and lights above it. Okay, so I never want to waste anything. So for me as a writer, I love taking that and I'm going, how can I use that in a song and not sound anything like Steely Dan, but take it somewhere different. So I love these voicings. And I thought, well, what if I start, instead of starting on the 1 chord, what if I start on the 4 chord? And what if instead of going down, what if I go up? And I just started playing that and I started thinking of it, what if I do it slower? Then go to the 1. Then all of a sudden I have something totally different than Peg. I've got this beautiful mood, but I'm not locked into that original sound. I'm not locked into that original groove at all. I'm taking it somewhere completely different. Even if it's the same chords, it's going. And so I was showing this to my masterclass on Monday, and we're going, wow, this is so that, they were digging that. And I was going, I'm always teaching my melody students to write with rhythmic patterns. So I started playing them. Let me play you another song. I started playing them another song. Share your screen, buddy. Yes, we're going to get little Taylor Swift.
I stay out too late. Got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say. I go on too many dates, but I can't make them stay. At least that's what people say. That's what people say.
Okay, so we got to talking about that song, and we're talking about how in that verse, the melody is doing a 5-note pattern. Ba, 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 da, 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 ba, 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 ba. And it's doing it over and over. It's up tempo, it's fun. But I was explaining how we can take rhythm patterns like that and we could do it in a ballad. So it just occurred to me, I'm going, okay, well, what if we take those ballad chords we were just doing? I stay out too late, got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say. I go on too many dates, but I can't make them stay. Yeah, at least that's what people say. That's what people say. But I keep cruising, can't stop, won't stop moving. Okay, now I'm in a totally different land than Taylor Swift. But what I did was I just was playing with the Taylor Swift lyrics. I stay out too late, got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. Those 5-note patterns. And so you could take a 5-note hooky pattern, turn it into a ballad, and then now all of a sudden I can write new words to that. I've got chords from a Steely Dan song that I flipped over. I've got a 5-note pattern that I took from a Taylor Swift song. And I guarantee you, when I finish the song with new lyrics, nobody's going to go, oh, you took a 5-note melody pattern. That's like the Taylor Swift song. Nobody will get that. So this is the kind of thing I think that you can use for inspiration. You can take flavors from chords. You can take rhythmic patterns, mix things together, but you have a totally different outcome in the end. If I had taken that original, hey, let's get fancy here. If I had taken that original, if I did that rhythm pattern and those chords, anybody who knows the song Peg is going to go, well, I know where he got that from. And it's going to be like, why are you doing that? And so that's the whole thing. But I love that voicing. And if you took the regular triad voicing of this, it would be, that's kind of boring. Well, I mean, you know, it's not always. You're going to sound like the 60s, 70s. If that's what you're going for, great. But in this case, I wanted something a little bit different there. Any questions so far, guys? You liking my new camera angles? Thank you, Jeanette. You said you love that feel. I love it too. And to me, that's the whole purpose. When I learn music, when I learn other songs, like when I was learning Peg, I don't just learn them for the joy of playing it. That's one thing, but I'm a songwriter and you guys are songwriters. So when we learn songs, it's so that we can take that stuff and put it into our own music, you know? Think back to when you first started playing. I saw Rosie's on here tonight. Rosie, when you first started picking up your guitar, you probably learned some cover songs of songs that you really liked. Then when you started writing songs, you put those into your own songs. And I think that's what we all do as writers. So the challenge I'd like to make for you guys here and give you guys is to keep learning, you know? And so if I learn chords from Peg, it's going to make its way into a song of mine somewhere. I'm not just going to learn it. I want it to become a part of me. I want it to become part of my musical vocabulary. Peter, good to see you. Good to see you here. Charlie, you made it. Charlie, did you miss my example? I was playing Peg just for you, buddy. Okay, let's move on. I want to go to a different song. Let's see what we got on the agenda now. This is also one of my favorite songs of the last few years. Little Louis Capaldi.
I'm going on during this time. I feel there's no one to save me. This all and nothing really got away. You're driving me crazy. I need somebody to hear, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I'm good.
Okay. So when I listen to that song, the thing that stands out for me is this six. It goes all the way through the chord progression. But I don't want to just borrow. If I do that chord progression with that sixth going through there, everybody's going to know where it came from. So for me, I love that voicing of the six. It's open, it's moody. once again, if I played the chord, it's not as cool. So I love the sound of that open sixth. So I go, okay, how can I take that open sixth and put that into one of my songs? If I go more, say if I do, let's do another progression here. Yeah, let's do like, slow it down a little. I like to do that too. I like to change. Here's another thing. To get me further away from the original that I'm being inspired by, I like to change tempos. If it's the original is a real slow ballad, I might take that element that I like and speed it up. Or I'll do the opposite. This song, even though it's a ballad, it moves along at a fast clip. So I might slow it down a little bit and do different chords. Let's see, let's do key of B minor to G. I like that. Then you can write. I'm seeing like a Irish countryside, maybe a penny whistle playing the melody. So now I'm totally away from the Lewis Capaldi, but all of a sudden I have an essence with those open sixths. It just makes me long. You know, it's like a longing in those open, moody chords. So that's another way I do it with voicing. Some of you may remember how I talked about the songwriter chord, where you're doing those, let's see. Where you're doing tenths, which is also like, the tenth is what they use on fast car. So chords are probably, in my estimation, a lot of people get, oh, see, technology, thank you. This is the first time I'm using two cameras and I don't have a cameraman, so excuse me. Chords to me create the mood. And so I could very easily go to, you know, playing cowboy chords. It's gonna sound folky, it's gonna sound country, but if I'm just using two fingers. All of a sudden we have mood. I go on too many days. That's what people say. Instant mood. So chord voicings are a great way to create an atmosphere, to create a mood. And like, for instance, I did a song with Nora Collins, and let me see here. Fast car. Where we just basically used those chords, but when it was produced out, it took the essence of those 10th chords, the fast car kind of chords, and when you do it in a full production, you get the emotion from that, but you can produce it out in any style. So this was produced a little bit more aggressive pop country. Let me share my screen and let you hear that.
Oh, do you ever remember, baby? We were bad.
So that all came about just from wanting to use those. So it was just, then when you produce it out, it can sound any way you want to, but you're starting with a little emotion. Okay, cool. Let's hear some questions. Look at this, JC. I got you on the big screen. I have learned StreamYard today. JC wants to know, what keyboard are you playing? That's a Native Instruments complete keyboard. It's a 61-note version of their complete control. Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Yes, Garrett says that progression sounds heartfelt. Yeah, but you know what? More than just progressions, I think a lot of times it's the voicings and the simple voicings. Like I showed you the Lewis Capaldi where they're doing that open six and rocking back and forth. It's so simple. You're just playing two notes on the right hand back and forth. And it's open. It leaves a lot of space. And I think that's where the emotion comes from. When you're playing block chords, where, you know, just I think that is where you tend to get a happy kind of sound, you know. But if I take that and I flip it and play six, it's totally different than. Let's see what we got here. Yes, Paul, that's Lewis Capaldi song. Definitely, it covers a lot of things I talk about with contrast. And last time we did a live lesson, I talked about contrast from section to section, and that song nails all those elements. Each section of the song, the melody starts on a different beat. He doesn't come in on the same beat every line of the song. Each section, he comes in different. He builds, the melody gets higher and higher with each section. There's long notes, there's short notes. He just does so many great melodic things. All right. Yes, Barley Cove says most of us in bands play loads of covers. Yes, and that's the thing. When I think of great songwriters, couple of my early influences, the Beatles. The Beatles were a cover band when they started. They played every night of the week in Hamburg, Germany. They played so many shows a week. And they learned every song they could. And I think that's why their music turned out to be so universal. They took, when Paul sat down to write Yesterday, he's taking from classical pieces, he's taking from Broadway, he's taken from all these influences, rock. And I think that's what made the Beatles so great, is they used everything. You know, he can tell you, oh, when I wrote When I'm 64, that's like this drinking song that I heard when I was growing up. I mean, don't waste anything you learn. There's a place for it. There's a place to put it in a song. And so start using that stuff. You know, I know a lot of people shy away. They go, well, I don't want to use something I learned in a song from the 70s. But I just showed you how you could totally take a 70s chord voicing from, or was it the 80s? I'm trying to think. Fast Car. Was it the 70s or 80s, guys? Luke Combs just redid Fast Car. He's got a hit with it now. But I just took those chord voicings and melded it into a song that, you know, Nora Collins did. So that's what I mean. Don't be afraid to use stuff. Just keep yourself updated enough where when you use something from the 70s, you're throwing it in with a mix of today as well. You're not just stuck back in the 70s. Matthew says, do you think there's any place for jazz chords such as ninths in pop music? I do hear it depends on the artist. But yeah, I mean, ninths are not going to be as common as they were, you know, back in the day in the 70s and 80s, even the 90s, you know. But it doesn't mean tomorrow it's not going to be. So I don't believe in going, okay, I'm never going to use ninths because I don't hear them on the radio. Write those songs if you feel you have to write them. You know, today you might write a song with ninths. Tomorrow you go, okay, well, I'm going to write something that's more in the ballpark of a modern production. But, I mean, I could totally take, you know, I was playing those ninths in the... maybe if Michael Bublé was cutting a song, you know, he might do something like that. But I could totally take that, and instead of putting the ninths in it, instead of doing this, let's see, I could just go. Then, you know, you could take that and put a modern production on it, and then you've got like a country kind of R&B kind of feel. So that's another great point, is there's the song elements, the melody and the chords, and then there's the production side of it. And just because you write a song using ninth chords doesn't mean you can't take them out and produce that song without those chords. You know, most of what makes a song dated or makes a song modern, most of it is going to be the production. You know, and so, yeah, you can write a song with ninths and then totally produce it another way, you know, if that's what you want to do. But I personally think you need to write it all, you know. Don't just go, well, I can never use ninth chords, because you're not going to be very happy if you like ninth chords, you know. I've had several songs in my career cut that had ninth chords or used the ninth and the melody. I mean, I love that, you know, using the ninth and the melody, you know, and then it doesn't have to be in the guitar chord or the piano chord. What else we got, guys? Give me some more questions here. That's a great question. Barley Cove. Terrible at music theory. Could you explain tenths? How does that correlate to the circle of fifths? It doesn't really correlate. Don't think of circle of fifths. So let me just explain to you quickly. If you have a chord, say C, C, E, G, if you take that third and you move it up, then now all of a sudden you've got 10 notes. So that's what I mean by a tenth. And there's a lot of songs that you just use the tenth. There's a lot of songs that will just use that spread. So it's just 10 notes apart. If you do it on guitar, you can't see it as well, but you hear it. And Paul McCartney used it on Blackbird. If I take the capo off, I could play that better. Those are just tenth. I'm just playing two notes. So it's just, a style of voicing. So when I say if I'm playing like the Louis Capaldi thing, those were 6 notes apart. If I'm playing the fast car song, or if I'm playing Yesterday, those are a 10th apart. And just, I mean, it just totally changes the sound of everything. And that's one thing, you don't need a lot of notes to sound sophisticated. You know, if you're playing those 10th chords, it sounds so cool when you're just playing 2 notes. Let's see here. How about an hour session where you review 4 top 10 hits from all perspectives, any area, genre? I do that. There's some lessons on the SongTown website, but yeah, we could do an hour lesson. But yeah, I talk about contrast, and if you watch my course on melodic contrast, I cover a lot of songs in there and talk about like some good things that they do. But yeah, maybe we could use that idea for a whole session. Jimmy says ninths can be replaced by dominant 7th chords in country. Yes, that's very true. And you know, often I shy away from talking about chords because to me, the chords are secondary, especially today in music where so much of great songs have to do with the melody and the rhythmic patterns of those melodies, even if it's ballads. I mean, Yesterday by the Beatles uses what I call line plus 3. And so rhythmic patterns make those melody notes hooky. And so I focus a lot on melody and rhythm patterns. And you can literally have a melody and play 100 different chord progressions under that melody. So how do we choose what chord progression to go under the melody? For me, part of it's genre. You know, if you're doing country or pop, a lot of times you're going to have that 4-chord. Ed Sheeran, you know, Ed's famous for every one of his songs he can play with the same 4 chords. You can do that. But I choose chords because of the mood. You know, if I'm especially in sync music, if I'm doing something that makes me want to feel nostalgic with, you know, pan flutes and this soaring melody, you know, then I choose different chords than I'm going to do for a country pop song. But if you're doing country pop, if that's what you're focused on, I mean, you can literally use 4 chords and never get out of that and come up with killer songs. I mean, blues songs were only 3 chords. Every great blues song that you can name off by B.B. King or whoever, you know, a lot of those were just 3 chords. So it's not really about chords. It's about your lyric. It's about your melody. How you build a melody from beginning to end. Okay, Michael, if you want to start with different percussion, where would you look? That's a good question. I would just hit up somewhere like splice.com and just pull through their drum loops. They have a lot of percussion loops. Or if you're in Logic, you know, or Studio One. I've been using a DAW called Studio One, and they have a lot of loops. But most DAWs these days come, you know, with drum loops. Just pull up loops and sing along to them, play along to them. I tend to feel it. I mean, I can pick up a guitar and feel different grooves, so I don't always start with loops. But I could tell you my first #1 song, Beautiful Mess, I started off writing to a drum loop. You know, it was fun. So there are no rules. Okay, what's some more questions, guys? Hannah, Applying this idea to learn structural elements like songs with great chorus hits, pre-choruses, see how the songs build. Yes. Like I said, a lot of songs today, even that Louis Capaldi song I played you, keeps the same 4 chords all the way through, but it will rip your heart out when you listen to it. And they do that by building the melody and having a lot of melodic contrast throughout it. So you don't necessarily have to have incredible chords. I mean, gosh, Aretha, had a 1-chord song that was an all-time great song. I mean, there's plenty of 1-chord songs. So to me, chords they're just the thing I focus on probably second to melody. Because if I have a great melody, I mean, I have heard a couple of country artists doing my songs live in stadiums, and the band stops and everybody in the audience, 20,000 people, is singing the melody to the chorus. And to me, that's more important than what chords were under there. Having a melody that people can sing along to, that move them, that make them feel something, to me, that's job number 1. Then what goes underneath it with the chords, that's what I think about second usually. Does that make sense? All right, y'all. I love doing this. We'll be back soon. If you're in SongTown, well, most of you guys are, because we just did this for SongTown tonight. We got some exciting stuff. Marty and I have been working on getting some new teachers to come in. We have got somebody coming in that's going to do a lot of sync stuff for you guys. We have a major producer coming in. And they're all going to be live lessons like this. So you'll be able to ask questions and learn from some really great people. So, watch out for that. I would say we'll be going in full force in the next 2 months with that. And if you have suggestions, if there's styles of music you want to learn about, email me, Clay@SongTown, and I will, gladly do my best to teach myself or bring in a teacher that can do it. Okay, let's see here. Yes. All right, Rosie, get some sleep, Adam says. Okay, y'all, we will see you next time. Appreciate you, and I appreciate you being part of the SongTown family, because there's no other group of writers like you guys. You work hard at your craft, and you're really getting noticed out there in the real world. So congrats. We'll talk to you later.